few years, what I've been really focusing on is helping accountants take their advisory services from ad hoc to a consistent service offering within their firm. So that's what I've been doing, and I absolutely love doing, as well as coaching accountants and accounting teams. But of course, my amazing co-host this morning, Kylie Baxter. Good morning.
Good morning, Linda. Good morning, everyone. Yes, my name's Kylie Baxter. I have a public practice firm on the beautiful Gold Coast, and this topic's really interesting, marketing, because I think it's one of those things that accountants, it's a bit like sales, you know, we talk about it a lot. It's one of those interesting things. But for me, you know, my background is that I have grown my firm since 2003 when we moved to the Gold Coast, from about 100K worth of fees to what it is today, which is lots more than that. So marketing has definitely been something that has crossed my mind over the course of the years, and I have some good stories and some maybe not so good stories that I'm going to share today.
I think both of us do, Kylie. That's what's really great about these rooms, is that you and I just are open books, really, aren't we? We just tell everybody what we think, what we've experienced, and hopefully everybody learns something from that or takes something away. So we are a CPA Australia public practice discussion group, so you can get your CPE and CPD points for listening into us. And of course, if you want to catch up on any of the other topics that Kylie and I have chatted about over many weeks now on Clubhouse, they are available over on my YouTube channel, and I think you can find them in LinkedIn as well. And of course, we would love these rooms to be interactive. We know it's nice to sit there and listen to Kylie and I babble away. But of course, if you want to chat to us, please do so. We welcome that, and you can do that. You've got a little chat function if you're in Clubhouse. Even if this morning, if you could just pop in the chat where you're listening in from, we'd love to say hello. And if you're over on LinkedIn or on another platform, I do know that you can make comments over there, so we can see them, and we should be able to respond to you if you have any questions. Of course, you're also very welcome to pop up on the stage. All you need to do is raise your hand, and that'll let us know that you might have a question or you want to take the discussion in one way or another. So please chat to us if you'd like, but of course we are very happy for you to listen in too. All right, just a quick reminder that as we kick off our conversation, that our intention is always to be positive and supportive and collaborative as we come together in support of our amazing industry, no matter where we are in the world. Rightio, marketing for accounting firms, does it really work? I've had accountants say to me, well, we've invested in marketing before, Linda, and it hasn't resulted in any new clients coming in the door. Is it that marketing isn't working, or is it the strategy or the lack thereof of a strategy perhaps that isn't working? So do you know what your core purpose or brand is? Do you know what your ideal client is? Do you have products or services, you know, in the true marketing sense? What is marketing? You know, there's a lot of questions around this that I think accountants can learn a lot from, certainly my experience, and I'll be talking about that in a little bit. So if you said no to any of those questions, you're in the right place, because Kylie and I are going to have a chat about it. All right. So my experience with marketing in accounting firms. In a former life, I was a practice manager of a relatively large firm, and there was 4 partners and 40 staff, and we engaged over the number of years that I was undertaking that role a number of marketing consultants or marketing agencies. And what frustrated me to no end is that they didn't understand us. They didn't understand what we did as accountants. And, you know, it was all about, but you just do tax returns, and what do you do after October once the tax returns are all done? Now, here in Australia, that's when our individual lodgements are due. And so, it's like I found then that we had this image problem. And I know Kylie and I talked about the image problem, I think it was either last week or a couple of weeks ago. And so just like our clients sometimes, marketers also don't know what they don't know. So that's not their problem. That's actually our problem. So that's an interesting place to start. I don't know about you, Kylie. What have you found over the years with marketing?
I think marketing, there's a few things. The first thing is, why do we do marketing? And of course, it's to grow revenue in some way, shape, or form. But the issue that I think some people have is that they've got this marketing budget, or, we think, we should do marketing, that's what we should do. And we need to really link that back to capacity as well.
Yes.
What do we have the availability to do extra work if it does come in, assuming the marketing is a success? So I think we're on the right track, Linda, but I need to share, yesterday when I was preparing for this, you kindly told me the topic.
I do kindly just spring it on you, don't I?
No, it was very good. But I did say to someone, hey, what do you think of when I say marketing? And it was an accountant. The first thing they said, expensive.
Oh.
That was fascinating.
Wow. Now that is very interesting.
Yeah, because there's a direct correlation with us as accountants or practice owners thinking that marketing might be expensive or not for us or whatever the story is. And it made me consider what clients think when we talk to them about advisory services, which we spoke about last week. So I think if we look at this topic of marketing like our own clients look at our services,
yes,
that's quite a unique perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I think going back to like what you said, why do we do marketing in the first place? Well, it is to grow revenue. I think it's also to attract the right type of client to us, ideally, and so that we're not wasting our time, but, not utilising precious time out of our capacity for clients that maybe just don't suit our business model or how we work. So there's a number of reasons of why you would want to do that. But I think at the core of that, we've actually got to also understand what marketing is. And I think that's really a good place to start. And I think the last couple of years, particularly, my learning curve with regard to marketing has been extremely steep. So I have gone from the other side of practice into a business that services accountants. And I've had to learn this somewhat seemingly magical thing called marketing and the position of it and why you do it and how you do it. And there's a lot more to it than I would ever have thought. And I think that's the first place of where we need to look at this from a perspective of, does marketing work? Because I think we've probably been just thinking, we just throw some money at this thing and the marketing people know what to do, and yeah, we should just do it because that's what businesses do. But we've not really thought about the strategy or putting any real effort into it. I don't know about you, Kylie. What do you think?
I agree totally, but I think we should also not only discuss, paying a marketing firm or paying those experts in their field. There's a lot of accountants out there these days doing cost-effective marketing, which I call social media.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think at the core of marketing, and something that I like to talk with accountants about, is very much that marketing is emotional. It's actually all about perception. Now, when it comes to accounting, we don't particularly deal with emotions, or, we like to keep it about numbers and facts and figures and all of those things. But when marketing is emotional, and so educating ourselves a little bit about marketing strategy and what that is going to help us to understand where we should spend maybe perhaps our time and our dollars. And of course, it must be also from the client's perspective. It's the ideal client that we're trying to attract. So being able to stand objectively in their shoes and what they see, and you hinted at this, Kylie, was about how they view our advisory services, perhaps, because it does not matter one iota what we think about ourselves. It's what our prospective client thinks about ourselves. So I don't know if you've ever come across a situation where you may see some websites or some ads or things, and the worst person to actually write the website copy is an accountant or an accountant. And I'm sure over the years we've all had a crack at writing some of our own website copy and things like that, or even social media posts these days. Just because we get so very detailed, there's a different way of looking at it. I don't know how you feel about that, Kylie.
No, 100%. Like, you want to have aces in their places. We are not generally editors, writers. You know, we're not traditionally good at speaking about ourselves in a fun and interesting way. So I think definitely you want to hand that over to someone that does copy every single day.
Yes.
Same as it's unlikely that most accountants do their own website. You know, we hand that over to experts because, geez, I don't want to learn how to do that, you know.
No, exactly. But I think then it's like we've got to take the time to think about a whole lot of things and spend the time helping, if we're handing that over to somebody else, helping them understand who we are and you know, digging deep into the core of who we are, who we want to work with and what that looks like. Otherwise it can all just fall a little bit flat, I think, and not actually not attract the right people, which is what I think we've seen in the industry for quite some time.
That's exactly right. And I think that's why using website as an example, websites have gotten increasingly costly over the past 10 years. It's because their client expectations for those website designers have changed. It used to be knock up a website and they would give you like they'd give you a template sort of website and you'd have to go in and fill in the blanks and da-da-da. Now it's really a one-stop shop because they're helping people with, well, who are you trying to attract? What do you need to say here? Who are you? What's your, what's the vibe of this firm? Those sorts of things. So that's number one, why it's so expensive. But number two, if you're not able to answer those questions yet, then it's only going to be as good as what you give them.
That's exactly right.
Often people get websites or get some social media or, whatever done, and they think, oh, it just didn't quite land the way I expected, or we didn't get a good rate of return on that because, we're accountants, we count things. And it's like, well, hey, how come why? And I think, Lindsay, you're right. We need to do a lot of work on the front foot of this, and that's before we might even engage the marketing people or even consider some sort of strategy. And it has to be all about, in my opinion, who are we? Also, what do we do? Who we are and what do we do? But it's more about who are we, because when we're marketing, we really need to show why people would choose our firm over another person's firm. And at the core, we offer the same services, but we might do them all differently.
Correct.
So it's that part of, if we all do it differently, how do we show that?
Yes.
How do you get that competitive edge?
Yes. And that's really quite difficult for us to articulate on our own. We do actually need help with that. And, we need someone to challenge us, to ask the questions, to really dig a little bit deep in that. And then from our perspective, we need to take the time to actually do that with somebody. Perhaps it's not a marketing consultant or someone like that, but it could be someone in your team. You could work with your team to sort of get some of that idea. But, the classic Simon Sinek, start with your why. Why do you do what you do? What's important to you? And being able to express that then to someone who might write you some marketing copy is a great place to start. So I like to call it the soul of your business, the soul of who you are. Marketers will call it brand. We hear a lot about branding and get your brand right. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about why you do what you do, how you go about it, how do you Kylie Baxter, differentiate yourself from all the other accountants that are out there. And that's what takes the time to develop. That's all the pre-work. You're exactly right, Kylie. And it does just take time. That's it's a bit of a work in progress, and it could always just be a work in progress. It might change. You're not going to get it perfect first go.
No, but we change, we evolve.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's why that has to change. I think also if you haven't done value and missions and you utilised your team and collaborated with them, that's helpful in this, because I think it's all very well and good to say, well, what's the soul of your accounting firm? But how do you actually determine where do you start? As accountants, we like really practical stuff.
Yes.
I would recommend, and Linda, you may have a different perspective, but I would recommend starting with, what's our value, what are our 5 or 10 or however many values you want, and what is our core mission? Because that mission statement really forms why we do what we do.
Absolutely.
Now, there are so many templates, there's so much available online to help you and your team do that. But what I would say is please collaborate with your team. Often we don't think our team members, particularly perhaps in the current market, care much about coming to work, getting their pay and going home. But equally, they care a lot about why we exist.
Yes.
How we're doing things.
Yes.
And they also really like clear guidelines. So
absolutely.
value submissions is excellent before you start marketing.
Yes.
Everyone internally needs to know what we're all about.
Correct.
Go out and tell other people.
Yes. When I work with accounting firms, I call that a strategic foundation. And it absolutely is working with the owners or directors. I start with them, but then we roll that out and we work with the team. And what a strategic foundation includes is a vision, a mission, values, target market, and what I call your big, hairy, audacious goal or your behave. So, they are the cornerstones. Now, sometimes I do it from an operational perspective, what you were just talking about there, Kylie, that everybody needs, to know what's expected of them. Some, nice rules of the game. What's the game we're trying to play here, and what are the rules around it? What's important? It helps them take initiative. It helps them know what to do, and look, it's just really a key component to running a business in my mind. But they do care very much around what the firm is going to do and where they're going. Everyone wants to be part of something that's bigger than them, and it's important that we can articulate that and work with our team on that. And that's then often we find that once we get hold of that operationally and start using that it does start to flow into marketing. It may not do it straight away, but that is the core or the cornerstone for getting into there. I think the other thing is also just about ideal clients, Kylie. Every time I ask an accountant who their ideal client is, and they'll say, well, everyone. I can help everyone.
Oh, no.
Well, yes.
Yeah. I don't agree that that's the best answer, even though it might be accurate.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Really, there is so much work for us around. Generally, there's so much work for us around. So it's about getting the people in the door and finding your niche client, but also figuring out what you actually like to do.
Yes.
So I think ideal client is super important. And I've got to say, it probably took me 5 or 6 years to figure that out as well. Because when you're growing from small, you have to, you find or feel that you have to take on whoever wants your services. But it actually sets you up. Talked about before, Linda.
Absolutely. And, yes, you're in that reactive space if you're just starting out, and, you need the cash flow. So be it. There's some, business decisions that are made that way. But I think if you can focus on almost right from the get-go who your ideal clients are and who are the people that will help you on this journey of yours that you're on in business. Who are the ones that will take you to really where you want to go, and being able to identify them, because with so much noise in the digital marketing space these days, we've got social media at us all the time. We're often on computers all the time. We've got websites everywhere. We've got stuff popping up left, right, and centres. We've got watches that tell us, something's happening. There's just noise everywhere. What you need to do is to be able to cut through that noise with your marketing and talk to the people you want to attract. So that has to be very specific. Now, that doesn't mean that, often accountants say, well, Linda, I don't know that I want a niche, or, I don't want to just deal with that person. I don't want to leave anybody out. I don't want them to think that I won't help them. In the marketing space, you will find that other work will come to you anyway, I think, Kylie. It's just who are the ones that are going to really, you're going to really perform extra good with, or extra well with.
Yeah, and look, I agree. So we should probably move into, we know what we've got to do before we start thinking about marketing, but we should probably move into, what are the various options available to us?
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, the world is our oyster, really, when it comes to marketing. And I found it interesting that someone said to me yesterday it's expensive, because marketing can be free. I think for me, marketing could start at attending events, going to those social things, and sorry, just to be clear, not just events with other accountants or financial planners necessarily. You definitely need to build your network so people refer to you, but you also need to attend events where your target client's going to be. So my target client, just to share with you guys, is small business clients. We're really good in the space of, sort of mum and dad businesses, hand-holding, getting them set up right from the get-go and helping their business grow. So that's our target market. So if I was trying to grow our firm or think about marketing, I would be like, where do all these small business people hang out?
Yes.
I know that they need help.
Yes.
And the cost-free answer is they hang out online. They're in Facebook groups asking, does anyone know an accountant? I don't know what to do when we started this business, or we're thinking about quitting our jobs and starting this business, or whatever the story is. They hang out in, it's everywhere.
Yes.
But also they're on all of those social apps. So marketing can be very, very low cost.
Yes.
To the other extent, if I was really starting out and had a great capacity and, all these extra staff that are hanging around just waiting for work, that would be fantastic. I would definitely engage a marketing firm to assist me with that, because you need to do it on a much larger scale.
Yes.
A website is so important as well. People are we all Google everything, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one.
No.
And what's the first thing that comes up is your website. It's not, it's just your website. So you need to make sure that website is a true representation of who you are.
Well, the other thing I think with the other thing with the website is getting down another area of marketing now, but absolutely, social media can be done very cost effectively. I'm wondering if your accountant that said that to you yesterday, that it's expensive, if they were also thinking about the time element. It's expensive in that, oh my goodness, I've got to spend so much time and I could just be doing work, So I wonder if that played into their answer as well a little bit too, Kylie, because I'll tell you what, it's also expensive if you get marketing wrong.
It is so expensive to get marketing wrong. And even though I'm talking about free stuff, it has to be available to make that happen. Not everyone has skills in Canva. Not everyone even knows how to use these certain aces in different places.
Correct.
So you need to engage a professional. And look, just to go down the whole social media side of things, and then I sort of want to talk about SEO for a sec.
Yes,
I do too. The social media side, it's hard.
Yes.
To do that on an ad hoc basis.
No.
To be successful.
No.
You've got to have a plan. You've got to have templates. You've got to have things. I see accountants, some of the accountants do it super, super well. It would be, wrong of me not to flag, but there is an accountant, her name is Natalie Lennon. She runs a firm from New South Wales, and she's a TikTok accountant.
Yeah, there you go. I know.
Working super successfully for her, which is great.
Just a little heads up, be careful of searching for accountants on TikTok. Accountants are used as a synonym or I don't know, whatever that is, an alias for another industry. Okay, so just be careful that kids aren't around if you happen to be searching accountants on TikTok. Yes. Please search for real accountants, and then you'll be okay. I learned that the hard way.
Linda. Let's move sideways to SEO.
Let's do it.
SEO, the only form of paid marketing I do, I'll share with you all, is I pay for SEO. Okay?
Yeah.
So SEO, if you're not aware, stands for search engine optimization. I'm 80% sure that's what it stands for.
That's correct. No, you're right.
My care factor around this particular space is I need it to work, I don't know how, and I'll pay it to do it. So the team that we use offer this huge range of services that was completely overwhelming. I looked on their website, I had no idea what the go was, and I had to get them in to explain to me and answer my silly Kylie questions. Because I don't know, I didn't even know what SEO was. Like, I thought it was, I wasn't even sure. You know what I mean? I don't know why I would invest in Google AdWords. Why would I do that? What does that help?
Yes.
I didn't understand why you need to ask for Google reviews. I was like, yeah, but I've got all these other client reviews that are available on my website. Not good enough. You know, they really educated me on this. And I really had to make sure I had a client mindset about it.
Yes.
Because I needed answers. So what those guys do for me is basically, and this is my very limited understanding snapshot, of what I'm paying for each month. They help my website go up the top of the Google page.
That is exactly right. It's one thing to have a website, but if it cannot be found in anyone's search terms, then what's the damn point? You could have spent a lot of money on this particular website, and what I often talk about is first you've got to fight the algorithms in Google and even in social media and all of that, all the search engine algorithms, in order for people to be able to find your website. Now, that involves a reasonable amount of work in putting the right words and the right sort of content within your website. Because, and I had that example just yesterday, we were working with a tax consultant, a high-level tax consultant, and it took us 5 different ways of trying to search for her website to find her. And now we were educated to know who she was and where she was. But that was just showing her that the website really was worth nothing because nobody could find it. That's what SEO does, everybody. So, yes, a good SEO person helps your ideal clients find your website so they can get their questions answered. Then it comes about the copy. You're right, Kylie, being able to have that client mindset, stand in the client's shoes, and answer the questions that they'll be looking for. Because I tell you what, 9 out of 10 accounting firm websites look the same to a client. They say the same things. You have all the same services. They just look exactly the same. So how do you differentiate yourself? And I think that's important. We talked about all that pre-work, which is so important. But yes, so social media we've covered can be cost effective, but I think needs to be consistent. So if you don't have the time, somebody needs to have the time and be able to put a plan together. SEO, that's about your website and getting it found on all of these, so you're not just lost out there in the web of all things and never coming up in front of anyone. So that's important. The other thing too
100%.
is if they know that you're Kylie Baxter and they know also that you have an accounting firm, often people will go looking for you and not necessarily the accounting firm name. They might not even know your accounting firm name. So you need to be able to be found for both you and the accounting firm, or perhaps where you're located. So again, that's more SEO type work. Yes, so it is quite a minefield. But I think what you brought up, Kylie, was that you were open to learning. You were open to being educated, and you weren't afraid to ask what you called the silly Kylie questions. But they're not silly. We've got to learn somehow. We don't know everything. And I think if we can approach marketing from that sense with a learning perspective, because we're very good at learning, marketing's something we could learn a lot more about. And I do think that when you know something about it, you will start to get better results, because you can just form a better partnership with whoever is helping you out with this stuff, right?
Absolutely. I think you raised a really interesting point there, Linda, and that's about marketing your firm versus marketing yourself. And I think as accountants, some of us, or some people, are doing a really good job at raising their personal profile. But you have to sort of think, well, how does that link to my business? How does that link to my strategy? How does that drive people into their... Because as owners or practitioners, we can be a face, but we cannot be the doer of all things.
Correct.
So that's another thing. Like, if you're out there sort of promoting, you have to think, well, what am I promoting? Am I promoting me, or am I promoting my business? Where's the difference here? Why do those two things exist separately? And what do I want to achieve out of each of them? And that comes back to that, having some clarity around who we are, what we do, missions and values, the soul of the business, like Linda.
Yeah, and that strategy that sits in and around behind that, what are ultimately, where are we going? Ultimately, what do we want to achieve? Kylie,
So I'm going to ask you a question, Linda. Tell me the best marketing strategy or technique that you have ever seen in an accounting firm, because you see lots of us around.
I do. I love when, and this is confronting for most accountants, I love it when accountants actually get on video and actually talk to their audience. So I think first you need to know who you're talking to, and I do think you want to consider just talking to one niche area. Like Kylie, you talked about, we help family businesses, get everything under control. Get on video and talk. Any marketer will tell you now that, it's all about video that attracts people's attention. It scares me a little bit that we're turning into goldfish. You've got, I think it's something like 2 or 3 seconds to get someone's attention when it comes particularly to social media. So that's tricky, but it's that consistency as well. So I think with marketing, the best things are get outside of your comfort zone. And one of the best things that I actually saw, it was when COVID broke, and all of over, here in Australia, we had a lot of different government support packages come out. And, oh gosh, I hate to give you all, almost PTSD with this, but we had little information, clients were scared, we were scared, we were scrambling, trying to give information to clients as they were ringing. One of the best tactics I saw were accountants that got on and did informational, educational webinars. Even the fact that they didn't know much, they didn't really know the answers. The fact that they were there showing their support for their clients was an amazing thing. And I saw some amazing results, particularly with a couple of regional firms that did that. They saw their client numbers grow exponentially because of that, and others in the area lose clients to them. So it was a key thing. It's about people want to work with people. There's so much anonymity that can happen in the digital space these days. We can all just be a photo or some words on a page. But when you're there actually speaking to somebody, it's very hard to hide. So your trust level goes up so much more. I think it's video, Kylie, as confronting and out of our comfort zone as that is, it's video.
Yeah, look, Linda, I have a personal story of that. I did exactly that during COVID. I hopped on, I used Instagram stories and sent it through to Facebook, and also then downloaded that and sent it in via our newsletter to our clients. And basically my messaging was something along the lines of, please don't call us, we don't know either, we'll let you know. Stop calling. Mostly it was about, hey, this is what's available, this is what we know. Like, pretty much regurgitating what they were getting readily available anyway, but in normal person language, which is how I like it. And really, that really gave us a lot of extra work. People were coming in drones. We could not service them all. Like, it was literally like, well, we just can't help you all because it's too onerous on us. But that super, super, super worked. It really, really did. And people love it. And your existing clients love it when you talk via video. They feel connected. You know, post-COVID, we're not seeing each other face-to-face as much.
No.
You know, travel has decreased, all of those sorts of things. The video is a key way to connect with people and really drive that up. So completely agree. So that's my personal experience. I think it's also interesting, and we sort of talk about image, and I said last week, you know, H&R Block or whatever it is, have a lot to answer for without accountability. That in itself is perfect marketing for them. I want to talk about it, and forgive me, I'm going to say H&R Block, it might not be them. But we've all seen that ad on TV where they're doing tax returns and then they must get a great outcome and they go,
yes. You know, the accountant moment.
You know.
Yes.
Exactly. Come and get your tax return stuff with us.
Yes.
And while I cringe every single time I see it, it sort of gets bandied out at about this time of the year, and it'll happen again next month when, you know, individual due dates for those to do it themselves come out. But that is perfect marketing for them. And I think that really shows that they understand who they are, they understand what they do, they understand their target market, and then they do it. Let's not even talk about the budget, obviously.
No.
They don't have that sort of budget.
No,
however,
that's right.
It's really about finding, or knowing all of those things and finding the best marketing product to work for you.
Yes.
And that's what we really need to do.
And I know you have to go shortly, Kylie. So I just wanted to just delve into one more little thing. Let's talk about the S word. Let's talk about selling. And how accountants...
We just made everyone uncomfortable.
I just love, you know, these saying things that make people uncomfortable. I've said video and now I'm saying selling. Goodness gracious, I'm upsetting everybody. So, look, marketing is about selling. And I think it's opening our minds to what selling is, you know, and thinking about it in a different perspective. I never say, I've said selling now, I've said the S word on this forum, but when I'm talking about accountants, I don't ever use that word, but how I explain the concept of marketing is that it is allowing us to position ourselves and the way that we can help clients or prospective clients in a way that they can understand and are attracted to. So selling is not about, you know, banging someone over the head and making them buy from you something they don't need. That's been gone for a long, long time, and people are smarter than that anyway. So, you know, we can't do that anyhow. But I think in the industry we have a real problem with sell, don't we, Kylie?
We do have a problem with selling. We're really good at doing. We're not so good at selling. And unfortunately, if you're trying to grow your client base, you need people to come in so that we can do the stuff. So I completely agree. You know, as accountants, it's probably one of those awful, yucky words that we need to think about. But my hot tip with that is, if you don't want to do that or don't like that term, and I'm one of those people, try and just raise your personal profile and the personal profiles of those in your team, which obviously has its own risk. But if you raise your personal profile and start thinking, how can I get more people out there just to know who I am, that in itself is
it's a great starting point. Yes.
It's a great starting point. So,
So what you're talking about there is education and thought leadership. So, versus that more